Hi, I'm Kim Laramie. I'm a strategist and account director here at Ethos, and I also work sometimes on the Vaunt side. My colleague.
I am Suzanne Medor. I'm a content marketing strategist for Vaunt.
And today we're going to talk a little bit about Facebook Live. And don't run scared because it's not hard.
It's pretty awesome.
Pretty awesome and very easy to do. One of the reasons we recommend Facebook Live is that it can be a very simple way to sort of explain something that's complex or that has multiple steps. Very engaging, kind of takes the mystery out of something that might otherwise be scary.
And if you're asking questions or presenting in a way where your audience doesn't quite still understand, they have the ability to jump in and just ask you right then and there, which
also makes it great. So
yeah.
why do we recommend Facebook Live? What are some of the trends, Suzanne?
Well, if you haven't been living under a rock, you know that video content is hot, and we don't see that really going away anytime soon. Facebook Live video is also really low cost. You don't need fancy equipment. You know, if you have an iPhone and a Wi-Fi signal, you can pretty much go live anywhere. There's some considerations in that, of course,
Sure.
but for the most part that works. And you're producing really valuable content. You know, it's really unique, very informative, and explaining things, again, really complex items to
in a very relatable way.
Exactly, in a conversation fashion, kind of like we're doing right now. One of the other things too is Facebook actually rewards pages, users, etc., who are using their Facebook Live video function to actually get more reach. You're still going to want to promote things to make sure you're hitting your target audience,
Sure.
but Facebook definitely gives you a little boost for that.
Okay. So what do you need to do before doing this?
Sure. So with any event, any sort of thing that you're working on, planning is the most important. So you're probably going to spend the most time planning. You're going to try to figure out what type of content do you want to talk about. Can you break it down? Instead of maybe one Facebook Live that's 30 minutes, maybe you think about 2 or 3 that are 10 or 15 minutes. Episodes seem to do really
Sure.
well. Guests, hosts, you know, it's better to have somebody else to talk to on camera instead of just being by yourself.
Because otherwise we would just stare at the camera, and that's never...
And it can be nerve-wracking, especially if you don't do this all the time. You also want to consider what day of the week, what time. Is it lunch hour? Is it after work? Is it before work? Think about some times that your audience would be able to come in and tune in. But also location of where you're shooting. You know, we've got a nice backdrop here behind us. It's pretty quiet. You don't want anything too distracting. It's also quiet here in the background, so there's not other people bustling by or music in there. And then you're also going to want talking points, because we all need them from time to time, so that you can address your whole topic and make sure that you have everything that you need to say, and also remind yourself to say, hey guys, those of you who are watching, what questions do you have? Because we get nervous and we forget.
Sure. The other thing that's really nice to have is somebody on the other side of the camera, too.
Yes, having someone on the other side of the camera, like we actually have today, is great because they can make sure the technology is working. Facebook Live in its early days used to have a lot of glitches where it would just stop shooting in the middle, which was always fantastic. But also, if there's questions or comments or stories coming in, it can be really hard to keep up with all of that on the screen as you're watching it. So you can have someone behind the camera to start the video, to end the video, and to also feed any of the questions that are coming in.
Right. Okay. Now, let's see. We covered a little bit of during what happens, or you want to go into that in a little more detail?
So during, the biggest thing to remember when you're doing a Facebook Live is breathe and be you. You want to be comfortable. You don't want to seem too rehearsed. You want talking points, but you don't want a script. You don't want to worry about memorizing lines. And if you forget something or say something out of order, it's not a big deal. It's a conversation, hopefully, with somebody else and even the folks watching, because that's the biggest part. What sets Facebook video or Facebook Live video apart from every other video format is the fact that your audience is actually part of the video. So if you're going to do a live, make sure you have openings and that you invite the audience to participate.
Exactly. And again, don't be afraid to say, oh, I messed that up. But let's just keep going, because that's also part of the charm of being live.
Exactly. And even when the Facebook video itself is over, you're going to save that, you're going to keep publishing that to your Facebook page, and people are going to watch it in what's called replay or archive mode. And this is also a great time to continue to engage and invest in your audience. They're going to ask questions, you're going to want to respond and continue that relationship and the conversation going, and it might even inspire a whole other Facebook Live.
And that's a really good point, though, too. You can't, once you've done this, you do need to keep going back in to look to see if there's new comments and to answer those. It's not a set it and forget it kind of a thing.
Definitely. I mean, we'll see from the Facebook Lives we've done with quite a few of our clients, you know, as long as people are still watching and commenting, they'll still come in weeks or months after.
And one thing that's really important, Suzanne, too, that you should touch on is that these days it's not enough to just put it up there. We have to put some dollars behind stuff. And that's pre and post, right?
Yeah, so again, you know, Facebook does give an increased reach on the organic side, which is unpaid, to live video. However, you need to invite people to come to your event, so you need to put some of those promotional dollars in there, but also make sure you're targeting the right audience. And then the archived replay video as well, again, so that you can make sure that your target ideal audience is going to be seeing it and being able to interact with it. Because Facebook might give you a little bit extra boost, but it's generally more on the all population versus your very specific audience.
So what else do we need to share about this awesome tool of Facebook Live and how it can really be integrated into your marketing plans and your communication outreach to further your goals?
I mean, we probably could talk about this for hours.
We could, but
I think
we won't.
we have. I know we have some blog posts coming up for Vaunt and for Ethos as well, kind of talking about how to plan, but also why you should be doing it.
Thank you.
Thanks.